What are you doing here? Hey, sunshine. What you doing? I'm about to record my 100th video. I've got a really cool idea, so if you could get out of the way. You know what you should do? You spend so much time doing all these retro reviews of good movies. You should do a bad movie. What bad movie? Oh, not any bad movie. The bad movie. No. No way. Yeah. It's gonna be good. No, that thing's a train wreck. I'm not doing that one. Oh, come on. It's gonna be fun. No. Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. All right, fine. But if I do it, I'm not gonna be sober. Okay, fine. You're actually more funnier when you drink. Today I'm reviewing The Last Airbender.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So sometimes I hate myself. Let's just start with that one. What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Will. And as you can tell clearly by the title of this video, oh God, I will be taking a look at 2010's The Last Airbender. For anyone who knows me personally, you will know that this movie is the worst movie ever, in my humble opinion. But for some reason, which by the way, it's my 100th video, so it's a milestone. I appreciate you watching all this time. Why? But I appreciate it nonetheless. Ooh, metal straw. So, The Last Airbender was how can I put this gently? It was the Bastard's Child adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's a beloved animated series that came on Nickelodeon back in 2006 and ran for 3 glorious seasons and recently made its triumphant return to Netflix, which a whole new generation gets to experience the adventures of Aang, Katara, Sokka, Toph, and Zuko while trying to bring balance to the world. If you really want to know the story of Avatar: Last Airbender, watch the animated series. Let's just get that out of the way right now. The animated series is fantastic, and I will die on a hill for that one. This movie came out in 2010, so this was directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan Ding Dong. That guy, I got words for that guy. I don't even know where to begin with this movie. I decided to watch this again. I haven't seen this thing in 10 years, so let's just put that one right out there. Which, by the way, works better when you're drinking. So, just flat out works totally better when you're drinking. But this was directed by M. Night Shyamalan, so this was well after, like, The Sixth Sense and Signs or The Village. You know, most of the movies that weren't bad, like, he was already on shaky ground with some of the stuff, but I think this is before After Earth. And this movie has like a $150 million budget, but you wouldn't be able to tell by some of the graphics that you see in this abomination of cinema. Okay, let me try to say something nice about the movie. As you can obviously tell, this is not a good movie. I do not recommend ever watching this movie. If you are new to the Avatar franchise and you really want to find out why people love the Avatar: The Last Airbender so much, watch the animated series. Not even gonna lie to you, some people like this movie, and by all means, some people like huffing paint, but I'm not even gonna discriminate against anybody who likes huffing paint. If you do like this movie, mazel tov to you. I will admit, watching it slightly inebriated kind of helps the experience a little bit. I wouldn't watch this movie before watching the animated series. Don't do that to yourself, that's just mean. But to try to be nice about this movie, I will admit some of the visual effects are not bad. Some of the bending looks okay, and that's about it. That's all I can really say about it. Let's just dive right into why this movie is not good. It's not good. Here's the thing. I don't hate it. Like in 2010, I hated it. When I watched it on DVD, I had to stop it like 3 times just to finish it. But watching it 10 years later, I will admit I don't hate it. I'm super disappointed in it. Not from the standpoint of just being a huge Avatar Last Airbender fan. I'm just disappointed that it's just not a good movie, especially for an adaptation. I'm like, you had such a solid source material. Like, first off, the movie tries to adapt book one, which book one is about 20 to 22 episodes. I can't remember off the top of my head. Sorry, I've been drinking. But I can't remember specifically how many episodes it is. And I completely understand that it is hard to adapt a television series to a movie, an actual movie. I mean, granted, they only give you an hour and 43 minutes for this movie, and it costs $150 million. You couldn't even really tell some of the green screen being completely fucking obvious. Sorry. With some of the green screen being completely obvious, and just really, really bad acting. And it's hard when you're acting with kids. I also get that as well. But for someone who claimed to have been such a huge fan, because I remember this specifically, there was like a special featurette like a few months before the movie was released in theaters, where they actually sat down and talked to M. Night. He was like, I was such a huge fan of the series. And he even got the creators on that thing too, which, oh my God, this is probably what's caused Legend of Korra to be fast-tracked like a few years later, because my God. But let's get back to the movie. The acting is it acting? Is it really? There were decisions made to change some aspects of the source material to seem more culturally appropriate, which I can appreciate. However, when the majority of the Water Tribe, which is supposed to be reminiscent of indigenous people, is mostly casted by white actors, kind of makes it seem kind of like you want to pronounce his name more correctly, but if you watch the series, and again, I know some people are like, well, you're comparing it too much to the series, just judge the movie on it. I will judge the movie completely on its own. The movie is basically a bunch of the big moments from season one with no connective tissue between stuff. And there are just certain things that were changed for obviously being too expensive to animate or something like that, or they tried to make it easier for an audience who's never seen the series to kind of understand what's going on. I don't know how, because it's really hard to understand what's happening. Some of the lines of dialogue are so clunky, and they make Anakin's line about not liking sand from episode 2 Attack of the Clones sound like it's Shakespeare. That's how bad some of the dialogue is. And we don't, even from a standpoint of, if I'm just judging the movie, you don't have time to connect with any of the characters. Everyone just kind of gets together out of the blue with no real time to kind of get to know each other. There's just really, it felt like he wanted to take the greatest hits from season one, but just didn't know how to blend them into such a short runtime. And it definitely hurts the movie. It makes it so hard at times to really enjoy. Like, there were so many times I was just looking at my phone. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I really tried to give this a fair shake for a second go around. It's been 10 years since I've seen the movie, and I couldn't recommend this to my worst enemy. There's so much weird stuff that happens that I completely forgot happened in this movie. Some of the scenes are acted rather so over the top or so below like mid-tone levels that it's like, where's the emotion? Like, it felt soulless. And I think that's one of the biggest issues I have about the movie, is that coming from such a rich story, and it just felt soulless. Even when you're trying to adapt it, it's like there was nothing that was, you had the characters, you had some dialogue from the series, but nothing really. It just didn't feel like there was a lot of that heart and soul that came from the animated series transferred onto this movie. It's a lot more entertaining if you watch it when you're drinking. I'm not even gonna lie like that. But it's a train wreck. It's a train wreck of a movie. I think it kind of hurt the franchise after such a high from the series ending like a few years prior, it just really felt, it was one of those things where I don't think the director knew what he was doing with it, or he wanted to do his own thing, but this was also not something, it just didn't flow. And not from a standpoint of like, oh, it didn't match up to every episode from the series. But if you were expecting to try to adapt a series and you left out really key characters, I'm like, there's no Suki, there's no Boomy. It's like, these are characters that are huge in later seasons that if you were expecting to do 3 movies, which God knows what you thought you were getting 3 movies out of from this one piece of garbage. And then we spend so much time with like the Fire Lord, where in the animated series we never really see him until season 3. You could have established that threat without actually revealing him. That's what they did in the series. I felt like the series gave them such a solid blueprint to work from. And I get it. You don't want to just copy and paste because then you get something like the live action Lion King. I get that. You want to try to put your own spin on it. But when your own spin makes no damn sense, it's like if GPS is giving you the roadmap to get to where you're trying to get to, and you're like, well, I want to take the scenic route, but the scenic route takes you 200 miles in the opposite direction. That's not worth it. There's nothing worth it at that point. This feels cathartic to me for a little bit, because again, I haven't watched a movie in like 10 years, and I don't know how long this video is going to be, so I appreciate you sticking with me on it. But I was always afraid to rewatch the movie because I just remember it being such a goddamn train wreck. And watching it now, it's really more so, it's like, it's not a train, it's a train wreck. It's a train wreck. But it's not, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because I know M. Night Shyamalan could be a really good director. Maybe at this point in his career, this wasn't the movie for him to be helming at all. If they were really trying to make this a successful franchise, why is it taking 5 guys to move 1 rock? Seriously, if you're trying to depict bending like it was on the show, but you're more interested in people doing weird hand movements and stuff like that, it's just like, what are you doing? I shouldn't have to do all of this just to move a pebble. That's not how they did it in the show. I'm sorry if I'm comparing it too much to the show, and I should be judging the movie on its own basis, but there are so many things like that make me seem like, well, why are they doing that? Even from a standpoint of like, I'm trying, they can control the elements. Like, you have your firebenders can't generate their own fire, so everyone has to like grab stuff from something, and some of them do like complete roundhouse kicks just to move 1 ember of fire all over the place. And, like, it makes no sense at all. So, there's just elements of this movie that are so infuriating. It's especially for a fan of the series. If you're not a fan of the series, you probably thought it was just a bland movie, and that's completely understandable. Completely understandable. But if you are a fan of the series, it's really hard to defend the movie when there's so much more that it could have been. It's just a really bad movie. It's one of those things where it's a byproduct of just trying to cash in on an IP and not really honoring the source material. It's probably the best way I can explain this. Just not honoring the source material whatsoever. Or trying to leave your stamp on it, but you leaving your stamp on it actually devalues the series to a degree. Now, granted, thankfully, it didn't devalue the series too much, because obviously from its re-emergence in 2020 on Netflix, and the fact that we're getting a live action series, not a movie, from Netflix, and they're going to, and I quote from what they said, they're going to stay more accurate to the characters culturally, meaning the entire water tribe isn't going to be made up by just a bunch of Caucasian people. So, The Last Airbender, is it a good movie? Absolutely not. You know what, if you got an hour and 45 minutes you want to kill, and you've got a bottle of vodka or a bottle of wine you want to knock out, give it a watch. Honestly, when I drank like 2 good glasses of wine, I started cracking up by the end of the movie, because there's a scene, and spoilers be damned, I don't care, I don't want you guys to watch this movie, but General Zhao in the animated series is killed by the water spirit when Aang fuses with it to remove remove the Fire Nation invasion from the Northern Water Temple. Northern Water Temple. But in this movie, just 4 random ass waterbender dudes roll up and suffocate his ass. I couldn't stop laughing for 5 minutes because I'm like, did anyone see these 4 random ass dudes just murder Zhao? Anybody else see that? Nope, just me? Okay, whatever. Moving on. So anyway, I can probably vent for like 2 hours on this movie, but it's not worth it. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a fantastic 3-season glorious animation achievement that is now available on Netflix for you to watch and enjoy. If you have seen the series before, by all means watch it again. It still holds up. It's still a great series. I mean, I got to watch the finale with some friends who have never seen it before, and it was such a good time. The Last Airbender movie is hot garbage. Don't waste your time unless you got a bottle of wine you want to kill. Yeah, that's all I can say about it. This was my 100th video. I appreciate you guys sticking with me for 2.5 years, give or take. I really appreciate you watching the videos, liking, sharing them, just hanging out with me. This is still fun. This is still entertaining for me to do. I'm still learning new things about recording video, editing. It's a process that I'm hoping one day I can do full time. Not necessarily YouTube, but actually the video creation element of things. I really want to thank you for watching my videos and spending time with me. It does mean a lot, even though if I may or may not hear from you directly, a lot of comments and stuff like that. But I enjoy movies. I enjoy talking about geeky stuff, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Avatar. It's fun. It's a good escape from a not so great world right now. So it's a lot of fun. So anyway, The Last Airbender. Please don't watch it. If you have seen it, I'm sorry. Comment down below if you have, and if you've got some thoughts on the movie. Sure, hit me up. Let me know. I'm on most social platforms. I'm at DGeekWill, so Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. By all means, you can reach out to me there. Thank you so much for watching this and all my videos, as always. I really appreciate it, and until next time, another 100. Catch you later. All that fun stuff. Until next time, I'll catch you later. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and you made it all the way to the end. Aren't you special? If you did like this video, if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up on the description. As well, if you click on my face right over here, you can actually subscribe to the channel for more videos. And if you've got a few minutes, why don't you check out a video or two that are floating on the side right here. Later.